lived in stories not my own, 1,000 faces I have shown. But when the curtains all came down, I was just a man who felt alone. They knew the boy with the lightning scar, but never the soul who hides in the dark. Behind the magic, behind the fame, there's a voice that whispers my name. These are my unwritten pages, lines I've carried through the ages. Not a wizard, not a star, just a man with a fragile heart. I'm breaking free. I'll stand and say I'm more than the roles I've played. My story's here, my truth remains in these unwritten pages. I've walked through crowds who never knew the battles I was fighting too. The world expected strength and grace, but I was still trying to find my place. Every shadow taught me light, every silence gave me fight. I've learned that scars can make you whole, they carve the truth into your soul. These are my unwritten pages, lines I've carried through the ages. Not a wizard, not a star, just a man with a fragile heart. I'm breaking free. I'll stand and say I'm more than the roles I've played. My story's here, my truth remains in these unwritten pages. So if you feel like you're unseen, like you're lost between the scenes, sing your truth and you will find the pages always turn with time. These are my unwritten pages, lines I've carried through the ages. Not the boy they thought I'd be, but a man who finally sees that the power's not in fame, it's in the courage to say my name. My voice is real, my soul unchained in these unwritten pages.
Thank you. I can't quite explain what this feels like. Most of the world has known me since I was a child. They knew me as Harry, the boy with the glasses and the scar, and I'm grateful for that. That story changed my life, gave me opportunities I never could have imagined. But what happens when people only see the character and not the person? For a long time, I struggled with that. I was young, and suddenly my face was everywhere. People assumed they knew me. They assumed I was confident, untouchable, maybe even magical. But behind all of that, I was just a kid figuring out who I was. And sometimes it was overwhelming. Sometimes it was lonely. Music has always been something private for me. I didn't grow up thinking I'd stand on a stage like this. I didn't imagine that I'd be holding a microphone singing words that came from my own heart. But maybe that's why I needed to do it. Because this, right now, isn't about fame or expectation. It's about honesty. It's about showing a side of myself that isn't scripted, isn't rehearsed, isn't someone else's imagination. It's just me. The song I sang tonight, Unwritten Pages, is exactly what it sounds like. For so long, I felt like my story had already been written by the world, that I had been defined before I had the chance to define myself. But tonight, I wanted to take a page back. I wanted to remind myself that my life, my voice, my truth, they're still mine to write. So if anyone out there feels like they're stuck inside someone else's story, I want you to know this. Your pages aren't finished. You still have chapters left to write, and those chapters can be whatever you need them to be. Thank you for letting me share mine with you tonight.
Daniel, I'll be very honest. When I first heard you were auditioning, I thought, why would he do this? He's Harry Potter. He doesn't need this stage. But now I understand. And I'll say this tonight may have been one of the most important performances we've seen. The song Unwritten Pages was absolutely beautiful. It wasn't just clever lyrics, it was your story. And the way you delivered it, with that quiet intensity, made every line believable. You weren't trying to impress us with vocal acrobatics or a polished performance. You were letting us in. And that takes courage. Your voice is surprisingly moving. It has this gentle, almost fragile tone at times, but then there's this strength that cuts through. And that combination makes it unique, it makes it real, and it suits the song perfectly. But what struck me most wasn't the voice, it was the vulnerability. You've lived most of your life in front of cameras, and yet I don't think the world has ever seen you quite like this. Not as a character, not as an actor, but as Daniel, the person. And that honesty connected with every single person in this room. For me, this isn't just about whether you can sing or not. This is about the reminder that even people we think we know, people we've watched grow up, still have their own stories to tell. And tonight, you told yours in the most powerful way possible. Daniel, for me, it's a massive yes. Not because of who you were, but because of who you are and who you're becoming.